Hello and welcome to Indie Highlight. I'm Nantenjex, and in this episode I want to put a spotlight on a recently released rhythm game called Pastel Parade by developer Matsu Friends and publisher Room 6. The game combines Rhythm Heaven style musical minigames with music by artists Fall and Masudo, with a cute and adorable little story reminiscent of Sega's Puyo Puyo Tetris. However, just because this sounds like a winning formula on paper, doesn't guarantee that the game is without flaws. The story follows 4 high school girls becoming friends, forming a band and exploring lost ruins, as friend groups tend to do. Each act of each chapter is presented as a rhythm minigame, sandwiched between brief moments of dialogue and CG scenes of the characters hanging out. It's all very cute and charming. Pastel Parade follows the growing friendship of Nagisa, the straight man type who has a fascination with the occult, Amane, the aloof friendly girl who is up for trying anything, Morn, the responsible sporty upperclassman, and Kohaku, the irresponsible playful type of girl. By following this group, Pastel Parade differentiates itself from Rhythm Heaven by having every minigame star its heroine quartet, sometimes putting the player in control of a specific member, or randomising it depending on the context of the minigame. The cast are all very endearing, and by following them throughout their journey, it is easy to become attached to them by the end of it. It helps that the story of Pastel Parade is very unserious, full of fun dialogue as the cast gets pulled left and right to each new minigame setting. Paired with the cute character designs and visuals, it makes the story sections enjoyable to read, and it even manages to have a little bit of mystery in its plot, even if the reveal isn't that shocking given the hints. The main game is presented in an overworld, with the group walking around from location to location, with side areas to interact with for extra dialogue. The player can also hang out in the girls' room, filled with memorabilia from their journey, and providing quick access to every minigame and cutscene in the game. It's a contextual menu that adds to the game's overall charm. But how about those minigames? After all, they are the main gameplay element of Pastel Parade, and its main reason for playing. For the most part, they are pretty good, with a great sense of beat and rhythm for the player to follow. The first rhythm game in particular is a great introduction to what Pastel Parade has to offer, which is good, because this minigame shows up again. And again. And again. While Pastel Parade advertises itself as having 30 original songs, this unfortunately does not actually correlate to 30 original minigames. By my count, there are only actually 10 unique rhythm games, with many of them getting repeated. To an extent, this makes sense, as Pastel Parade can introduce a rhythm game early on, and then provide a harder variant of it to test the player's growing skill. However, it then feels slightly redundant upon completing the game, where nearly every minigame unlocks an alternative track to experience. This first minigame, the Splash Festival, has 8 variants of itself, which is just over a quarter of the entire soundtrack. Unfortunately, this also messes with the pacing of the game, which left a slightly concerned feeling in me. After 4 original rhythm minigames back to back, it then hit me with 2 of the same previous minigames in the same order for games 5 and 6. It then did the same thing again in World 4, repeating the first 2 minigames of World 3 in the same order once more. Given that there are only 4 worlds to play through, and each rhythm game is roughly over a minute long, Pastel Parade is not a very long game, which makes the repetition of its content feel all the more severe. That said, Pastel Parade is not a game that's meant to only be played once. Each rhythm game is scored in a way reminiscent of arcade rhythm games, with a perfect fast, slow, and miss rating. The timing for each beat is tracked, and a percentage score is provided on how accurate the player was, earning a platinum, gold, silver, or bronze medal. Getting a platinum medal is not an easy feat, so much of Pastel Parade's playtime will be spent repeating rhythm games in order to master them. Thankfully, for the most part, these rhythm minigames are pretty good. The dancing one and the volleyball one are personal favourites of mine. However, there is one rhythm game that I found to just be bad, and unfortunately it's one of the most important, appearing twice in the story. The Pastel Parade rhythm game itself, where the girls form their titular band, is far more focused on remembering a specific button combination than reacting to the beat of the song. It requires the player to remember 4 very specific button combinations and then play them alongside Nagisa when certain visual cues are on screen. One of the best parts of rhythm games like Pastel Parade and Rhythm Heaven is that they can be beaten with their eyes closed, just following the beat and rhythm of the song. And for the most part, Pastel Parade does this, but the guitar minigame, and to a lesser extent 2 others, goes against this philosophy, and they end up being the worst minigames as a result. Thankfully, Pastel Parade doesn't fail the player for messing up really badly like Rhythm Heaven does, so even if every beat is missed, the story will still go on. Now, a slight story spoiler in this part of the video, skip ahead to this timestamp if you want to experience this for yourself. The guitar coming back for the finale instead of a compilation of all the minigames seems like a really odd choice to me. The context of the scene is Amane getting her memories of her time with her friends back, so a remix that goes through each rhythm game on her journey would have been perfect here. Instead, the game throws another guitar rhythm game with an even harder beat at the player, and it's just not that fun. Despite all the complaints I had at the end there, I think Pastel Parade is still worth playing, especially for rhythm game fans. It's a quick hit, but for the most part, Pastel Parade provides a great time with several fun rhythm games and a great soundtrack. It even has functionality to adjust the timing of input for players with a soundbar or other accessories that might delay the music. The visuals are cute and the 4 girls are all very charming with good chemistry. Pastel Parade ultimately provides an enjoyable time with just a few stumbles on its journey. I would advise any fans of Rhythm Heaven to really check this one out in the wait for Rhythm Heaven Groove. And even if you're not a fan of Rhythm Heaven yet, but want to experience what that game might be like, or just like experience a rhythm game in general, this is a pretty good starting point. Other than the one big difficulty spike, the game is pretty good at easing the player in and giving them tutorials, and a lot of the rhythm games are actually quite simple. You can't really go wrong with this one, so if this game sounds like something you might enjoy, go ahead over to Steam now and check it out. I want to thank Room 6 for sending us a copy of this game to review. On screen right now are our patrons, the $5 plus tier. You can join them by following the link in the description down below. I've been Nantenjax with this indie highlight, and if you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit that bell notification. I hear YouTube's kind of messing around with the algorithm, and a lot of people's videos aren't showing up in subscriber fields, so I think, unfortunately, we all have to take little extra steps to stay on top of the video content we want to see at the moment. Why is Google doing this? Who knows? Why do they mess with the algorithm every 2 months as is? Anyway, don't miss out on our videos. Hit that subscribe button so that you always remember to return to the source.